Hey YT, it's me, Jessie Ray. I am making a hair mixture right now, and I thought I would show you how I do it. Basically, I had a package and a half of African shea butter. The brand I use is called Taha. It just came from like my local African market. And I put it in there, and what I did is I already added 150 grams of coconut oil, which you can buy at any grocery store. The brand I got, I think you can even buy at Walmart. And that was for the first, what do you call that? That was for, the way I do it actually is I take equal parts coconut oil and equal parts shea butter. So because my first one was, it was about 100 grams. I weighed what was in there, and then my second one, which was all the way full, actually was 250 grams. I'm trying to like get it close to it being 300 grams, and I think I think I have that, because 250 plus another 100 in or so, that would actually technically be 350 grams. So I might need to add about 50 more grams. I put 150 grams of coconut oil already, and this is another 150. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in there and get my stand mixer going. Yay! Oh, and save your containers, because you're going to need something to put it in. I'm actually going to be putting them in these like little glass jars, but I already know I'm going to go over how much that is. So I'm going to turn it on. It's going to be really noisy. I'm about 50 grams short of what it should be, but it's okay. And the reason it's okay is because you can always add more to it, but you can't really go back. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and get that up, get that started mixing. And that's really noisy. So you want to let that mix and do its thing. It's going to mix a good 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes until it's completely homogeneous and like all one consistency. And I might make like a part 2 after that. Why do I do that? Like, should I do? No, I'll just keep it going. So the other thing we're going to add to this hair whip, it needs to have something water-based, because you can't really moisturize your hair without water. And, you're still going to have to use your spray bottle and add a little bit more water to get some moisture into your hair, but it doesn't help to have a little bit in there. So, I have it going, and let me go in my refrigerator and get some distilled water. This is distilled water. You could put tap water in it. I personally think it's better to put distilled into anything hair related. You just in case anything ends there. Just a little bit, a few tablespoons worth. Put that in there. There you go. So that's doing its thing. I'm going to turn it up higher. And we need to add to this some glycerin, depending on what part of the country you're in, what it's called. Let me put this water back in the refrigerator. I'm going to put about 1.5 ounces or so. I'm eyeballing that. If you have any questions about what an ounce looks like, use a measuring spoon. I've just done this enough times to not need it. That is really loud. And the other thing I'm going to put in there is some African hair oil. I have about 2 ounces left of here. I'm probably going to end up putting most of it, if not all of it, in. Let that go and do its thing. And you know what? Sometimes when you have these stand mixers, the Shea especially will start to stick to the side of your bowl and not get mixed all the way. So I'm just going around the sides of this bowl, and I'm mixing it and making sure like it just gets off of the sides and goes in there. So I'm going to do that probably 1 or 2 more times, and just so it just gets 100% mixed all the way. And put that there and get you going again. Now, for preservatives, I can do tea tree oil. That's a really common one. I like the smell of eucalyptus a little bit better. Either one works, to tell you the truth. I'm going to go with eucalyptus. I'm opening up the bottle. I'm just going to put a few drops for, well, just about 5 drops. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for good measure. One of those drops didn't look that good. Just so you know, it's not an exact science. More than anything else, what matters is getting your shea to coconut oil a little bit more even. And once again, this one hunk of shea butter on the side here is just stuck to the side. So let me put you over here. And while I'm thinking about it, my ratio was actually a little bit off. So why don't I go ahead, I'll show you how I do this. Put that right there, zero that out. And I'm going to put about another 50 grams or so of coconut oil. And let's see if I can do this while holding the camera. Get off of there. Come on now. Why don't you want to get off of there for me instead of making me fight you? Needs a little bit more. That's okay if it goes a little bit over. Alright, I'm going to dump you in there. Okay. Whip. So I'm going to let that whip and do its thing and wash my hands. And you know what? That might need just a little bit more distilled water. Now, just so you know, anytime you add water to an oil mixture, it's just not going to want to like keep together. It's going to want to separate. So if you go and you have a problem with separating, and sometimes I do, you could always add a little bit of lecithin. Liquid lecithin is it's a phospholipid, and it's used for emulsifying ingredients that don't like oil and water, for example. I didn't put very much water in this particular batch, so it shouldn't be a problem. But as you can see, it's almost done. La 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 la. Are you all the way whipped? And while I'm thinking about it, put a little bit of distilled water, and I'm gonna get this out, and I'll show you something else about what this actually is. And maybe next week I'll make one for you. I believe she might be done. I'm whipping the hell out of her just in case. I still see a bunch of darker yellow spots, which is just my raw shea butter that isn't completely fully emulsified in. So I'm going to make a part 2 showing you the end result, and also a little thing about distilled water versus tap water and what that purple liquid was. Alright, well, I love you guys all. Boop!